The hallway always smelled faintly of fried onions and old paint. Peter Parker paused outside apartment 3C, juggling a bag of groceries while fumbling for his key. Inside, Aunt May's soft humming filtered through the door. But even above that, Peter could hear them again. Raised voices, muffled cries, the too frequent thud of something heavy hitting the floor in 3D Sarah's apartment. He glanced toward the door next to his. It was quiet now. Too quiet. Peter hated that his gut twisted every time he passed it. Hated that he hadn't done anything except listen. He wasn't sure what he could do. Sarah barely looked up when they passed in the hallway, and Mateo, her boy, had stopped smiling altogether. Peter slipped inside. "You're home," May said warmly, reaching to take the groceries. "Yeah," class let out early. He kissed her cheek, the guilt already settling behind his ribs. As Spider-Man, Peter had faced monsters, green-skinned goblins, metal-armed madmen, and interdimensional threats. But nothing terrified him, quite like the bruises on a child's arm. Nothing made him feel more helpless. That night, perched on a rooftop 3 buildings over, Peter zoomed in on the Del Toro property with his upgraded lenses. He watched the flicker of lights through the blinds, the shadow of Mr. Del Toro's frame looming too large. A hand slammed onto the table. A chair scraped. Mateo flinched. Peter's jaw tightened. Mr. Del Toro wasn't just a landlord, he was a pillar of the community. He ran toy drives, spoke at neighborhood events, and had the mayor's cell phone number. Everyone liked him. Too much. But Peter had seen the way Sarah shrank when Del Toro was near, how Mateo hid behind her legs. He'd overheard veiled threats muttered just loud enough in the stairwell to chill his blood. "You're lucky I let you stay. This isn't what we agreed to. Don't make me take him." Each time, Peter wanted to slam him through the drywall, but he didn't. Because Peter Parker had rent to pay, an identity to protect, and an aunt who would be evicted if things went south. Instead, he watched. Days passed. One afternoon, Peter caught Mateo in the hallway. The boy had a Batman backpack nearly as big as he was, and he looked up with cautious eyes. "Hey, champ," Peter said gently. "Need help with the elevator?" Mateo didn't speak, just nodded. As Peter pressed the button, he noticed a fading bruise along the boy's temple. It was almost the same shape as the corner of a counter. Peter's fingers clenched. "You like comics?" he asked. Mateo hesitated, then nodded again. "I've got some Spider-Man ones," Peter said, smiling. "He's kinda cool, right?" Another nod. Just before the doors closed, Sarah called out for her son. Her voice trembled, sharp but fearful. Peter stepped aside. "He's coming." Sarah's eyes met his for a second. Something silent passed between them. Not trust, not yet, but recognition. "Help me." He didn't sleep that night. Peter knew Sarah wouldn't talk. Survivors rarely did, not when the system failed them so often. He needed to gather more, something undeniable. Spider-Man didn't break laws lightly, but he could bend the shadows. That weekend, Peter crawled into the air vents above 3D. The place was stifling. Below, Del Toro berated Sarah over a missed payment, though Peter knew she'd paid him in cash that morning. She was cornered near the fridge, arms up, trembling. "You think being pretty gives you power?" Del Toro spat. "You forget who owns this place." Sarah didn't reply. She didn't need to. Later, Peter recorded Del Toro's call to a lawyer, demanding full custody of Mateo. He wasn't bluffing, he was preparing. Peter didn't know what laws he was breaking by listening in. Frankly, he didn't care. The next step was subtle pressure. Spider-Man intercepted a charity gala Del Toro was attending, and in the chaos of a false bomb threat, accidentally webbed him to a wall, allowing press to snap photos of Del Toro. Raging at a waiter moments earlier, it was enough to create questions. Not answers, but the beginning of doubt. Then Peter sent Sarah a burner phone and a card through her mail slot. No signature, just a number and a message. You're not alone. Help is possible. Trust your strength." She didn't respond. Not at first, but a few days later, Peter saw her leaving the apartment early, Matteo in tow, heading toward a legal aid office across town. He trailed her in the air, unseen. Her hands shook as she walked, but she kept going. Courage in motion. Then came the night Peter feared. Del Toro found the phone. Peter had just returned from a patrol when he heard the crash. A scream, Matteo crying. He didn't think. He moved. In seconds, he was in the stairwell, yanking on the Spidey suit. Through the window, he saw Del Toro's hand raised. Sarah backed. Into a wall, Spider-Man burst in through the fire escape. The window shattered. Del Toro spun. "What the hell?" Webs pinned him to the ceiling before he could finish. Sarah clutched Matteo, shielding him. "Spider-Man?" Peter kept his voice low. "You're safe now. I promise." He left Del Toro dangling long enough for Sarah to call the police. He vanished before they arrived, but not before planting a hidden camera feed on the wall. The footage would show exactly what needed to be seen. Del Toro's fury, the wrecked apartment, the fear on Sarah's face. No one could ignore it now. The story hit local news the next day. Community leader accused of abuse. Hidden video reveals dark secret. Neighbors were shocked. Officials denied knowing anything. But Peter watched the support pour in for Sarah, quietly, steadily. Donations, legal offers. One of the charities Del Toro ran even offered her a job. May folded laundry as the news played in the background. "That poor woman," she murmured. "Takes so much strength to leave something like that. Whoever helped her, they're a real hero." Peter smiled, folding a t-shirt. "Yeah, they are." Weeks passed. Sarah moved to a better apartment across town. Peter saw her once more at a neighborhood fair. She looked lighter, her smile no longer cracked porcelain, but something real. Matteo laughed as he tried to win a goldfish. When their both eyes met, she nodded in gratitude. Peter nodded back. No mask, no webs, just a neighbor. Later that night, swinging over the city, Peter thought about power. Not the kind that came with radioactive bites or enhanced strength, but the kind that stayed, quiet, the courage to endure, the bravery to speak out. He landed on a rooftop, gazing down at the glow of windows, families inside living lives behind drawn curtains. Not every villain wore a costume. Not every fight was meant to be loud. But heroes were everywhere, even in silence.